Good morning. Welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Easter Monday, April 5th, 2010. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S., 4:30 p.m. in London. In Bermuda, it's 12:30 p.m. and in Mexico City, it's 10:30 a.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. The London reinsurance market is pretty much shut down today, as is Bermuda. Hopefully our friends in Mexico are hard at work. The big non-insurance related news is the return of none other than Tiger Woods to the Augusta National Golf Course in Georgia for the Masters. Mr. Woods is surrounded by no fewer than 90 bodyguards. And each bodyguard has a photograph of the women who have been romantically linked to Mr. Woods. Presumably that's a very thick wad of photographs indeed. And each guard of the 90 has been instructed to keep an eye out for any of the alleged romantically linked women to Mr. Woods. This is as a result of newspaper articles, believe it or not. So it just gets weirder and weirder. We'll go to our main news, which is not weird today. Well, there was a lot of shaking, rattling, and rolling in Southern California yesterday. This is the live footage from CNN yesterday afternoon as it was coming in. There was a 7.2 earthquake that hit in northern Mexico, killed 2 people on the Mexican side of the border, and rocked buildings as far away as Los Angeles and Phoenix. Jolted millions of people on an Easter Sunday afternoon in Las Vegas, San Diego, up into the Imperial Valley of California. 100 people were injured in Mexico. It left a scene of devastation in Mexicali, the capital of the Baja California Mexican state. That was 38 miles away from the epicenter. You see the dark red mark. That's where the epicenter was located. A man was killed in that area when his home collapsed on top of him. The quake was the biggest one to affect Southern California in years. It was not nearly as strong as the massive earthquake that's being predicted by seismologists that will hit California in the future, possibly killing thousands of people. The worst may not be over yet. There was a 5.0 aftershock just an hour ago. This one a little bit further north, but still in northern Mexico. The seismologists are watching this closely. The California Institute of Technology said that each earthquake we have triggers a chance for a bigger earthquake in the next few days. So they're on red alert down there. There was also a 6.2 earthquake this morning in Indonesia, off the central Indonesian island of Sulawesi. Pictured here, the red on top of the blue. There were no immediate report of any damage or injuries. The quake struck at about 7:05 p.m. local time. And in northern Washington state, at the Tesoro Corporation in Anacortes, there was a deadly refinery blast on Friday. Here's the center tower here that's been blackened as a result of the burning. Ended up killing 5 people. The plant is located about 70 miles north of Seattle. The company announced that its CEO and chief operating officer arrived at the plant over the weekend to examine the damage. Tesoro has been in a little bit of a pickle, apparently. It's a 120,000 barrel a day refinery. Obviously has been somewhat impaired as a result of the fire. But last April, a year ago, Washington state environmental regulators fined the refinery $86,000 for 17 serious safety and health violations. So they're obviously doing some retrenchment there. In China over the weekend, a rare bit of good news: more than 100 of those trapped Chinese miners were pulled out alive this morning after being trapped for over a week in the flooded coal mine. Some of them were so hungry they were eating sawdust. Rescued miners were brought up to the surface. Their light-sensitive eyes were covered. Their feet were bare. People were watching this broadcast live on national Chinese television. It was a rare bit of good news for China's mining industry. There are still 38 miners in the shaft. Rescuers are saying that they still think they're going to get them out today, but they're not saying whether there has been any contact with them. The stock market in New York is up about 56 points right now. We'll go to a word from our sponsors.
You may have already seen the demonstration of the CATEX Global Exchange in action. Some of the features of the exchange and our Pivot Point 2 software are especially useful to facultative and excess surplus lines brokers and markets. Here, we see the opening page of the contract workspace, which shows some of the details of a facultative risk as seen by the listing broker. Behind this opening page are screens which provide details of the contract of certificate, details on the parties or markets on the certificate, details of the exposures on the certificate, including aggregate data of the underlying risks, details on each of the insured risks, policy or certificate documents, including document templates, as well as automatic email links. This screen also provides links to details of the layers for brokers, the at-risk markets, premium information, policy accounting statements, the policy claims history, endorsements, and contract documents. The Pivot Point system is the backbone of the exchange platform. Pivot Point provides easy input of data as well as seamless structuring of the data into policy documents, accounting records, and statements, as well as underwriting criteria. The system allows brokers to focus their efforts on where they bring their clients the most value added, determining the appropriate layers and selecting the markets which are appropriate for the risk and layer. In these markets, timing and access to data are especially critical. For example, in a risk involving numerous properties, a broker will likely have a data file listing the properties subject to the risk. The system allows brokers to easily upload data files to the system. The exchange allows brokers to offer the risk and make sure the data are available only to markets authorized by the broker. The exchange software automatically converts the uploaded data to structured data. Markets which are interested in reviewing the risk can easily use the data to underwrite the risk. We are working on providing links to a third-party risk assessment firm which will be able to provide property-level risk of loss calculations. These are only some of the features which make the CATEX Global Exchange and our Pivot Point system especially useful to brokers and markets in the facultative and excess and surplus lines business. Please contact us for a demonstration of all the advantages you can get from the CATEX Global Exchange and the Pivot Point system. CATEX, an unfair advantage unless you are trading with us.
Well, news from Warren, New Jersey, where Chubb is located. They've announced that they're going to estimate losses of about $290 million in its first quarter results. They're going to announce their Q1 earnings on April 22nd, but they say that catastrophes from Australian windstorms, Xynthia in Europe, as well as the Chilean quake, will have caused an estimated $290 million in pre-tax losses, be about $189 million after taxes. They also include $125 million from snowstorms in the northeastern U.S., and they say that the losses from catastrophes outside the U.S., 70 million being tied to the Chilean earthquake, will total 90 million. So that's some news coming from Chubb. Some news coming from Washington.